sometimes during our back to school month, we focused in on issues that we've already talked about on the original channel. In some instances, there may be other cases to where we focused on things we have not focused on this channel. But here's a classic one. Here's the classic one we've always talked about. Inappropriate language is not allowed in any school by any person, student, or staff. Unacceptable. Neither is verbal abuse. It's the issues we talked about throughout the 6 years of this broadcast. Take a look at this example of a student who was in trouble, who said an inappropriate word. It wasn't that. It was a curse word. You're familiar with the word that rhymes with witch, or how about in Spanish? Meet a student who swears by Spanish. Take a look.
To meet with the freshman. He says something inappropriate to a teacher, and he's coming in along with his father. I have you here today because of the referral I received from the gym teacher. And according to the gym teacher, she writes, Oscar called me a bitch in Spanish. He later told me he was talking to the ground. He obviously was not.
Stephanie was not saying things because I never said that word to her. And she's just saying I did, but nobody heard it.
So Oscar, tell me what happened.
I said marica sea, which doesn't mean bitch at all. And I was looking at the ground at the time when I said that, and I told her that, and she said, no, you were talking to me. And I told her if I would have said it to her, I would have looked at her like face to face.
But what is the word bitch? What is that in Spanish?
Puta.
Oh, puta. Anytime you say anything negative to a teacher, curse or call them a name, it's considered verbal abuse. And the policy is like 2 days out of school suspension.
The things you read now, I think that's not that.
The father was very apprehensive, so I decided that the teacher needed to be here. So I sent for Mrs. Scott. Mr. Pacheco came in because of the incident in the gym class with Oscar. And you wrote, Oscar called me a bitch in Spanish. He later told me he was talking to the ground. He obviously was not. Did you hear the Spanish word?
Yes, I did.
What word did you hear?
Puta.
That word is really, really big, but he don't say that word.
Yeah.
Maybe you hear that or something else, but...
And I might have questioned whether or not I heard it had he not taken ownership to it that first day. His first response was, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to the ground. So he took ownership of saying that word, in fact, and the next day the whole tune changed, where that's not what I said, I actually said this instead. His frustration was taken out on me, and it was very offensive to me.
This is a classic he said, she said, and bottom line is what he said was inappropriate.
And the thing that really upsets me is that his response to me was, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'll just have my parents come in and get me out of it like they did last time.
Oscar ain't getting out of this one. I'm a little bothered by you would just get your dad to come in. So, Dad, what do you think about? What do you have
Now
to
when I
say?
hear that, I say, what can I say? Please don't do it again. Because it's not good for yourself.
You crossed the line. You will have 2 days out of school suspension for verbal abuse.
When you come back on Friday, it's a clean slate.
That's right. I think we're all set. I do appreciate you coming in,
Sure.
Mrs. Scott and Mr. Pacheco.
I'll try to stay out of trouble because sometimes I can't control my anger because I think I have anger problems, but most likely I do.
Most likely I do. It's what everybody says. Common sense alert. I'm not gonna play the alarm. I'll just make a moan alarm. Okay, there's the alarm. I kind of made a joke about this. But I commented 4 years ago saying profanity in schools is not allowed, so is verbal abuse is not allowed in schools. Exactly, that's what I said. That's what I said that 4 years ago. That's number one. Second, don't get your parents involved to get you out of this. They didn't make you do this. You did it yourself. Don't sit there and say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll get my mom or dad to get me out of this like I did last time." You ain't gonna get out of this. That upsets the teacher and they'll know about this. You knew what you did was wrong, so now what you have to do is say, I need to pay the price for this. Thirdly, you never swear by it. You never say you never speak language people can't understand. If you want to speak with your friends at lunch, so be it. And always fine. But you don't do it in front of a teacher. You never say that. And people may say, well, please don't do it again. And let me tell you this. You may take ownership and say, well, I was talking to the ground. I'm like, bitch. I was talking to the ground. People wouldn't out of hear it. But people can hear things. It's like, what'd you say? No, what did you just say to me? Repeat to me. What did you just say? Look, listen, and the other thing is, the mouth can lie, but the brain can't. That's the whole key here. So that's what you have to remember. The mouth can lie, but the brain can't. Still to come. Can you imagine? Still to come, more close from principal's office. Can you ever imagine, like being? Can you imagine something like this? Somebody like throwing gas bombs, stink bombs in the bathroom, and again, so they can blame something you didn't do. Exactly what happened. Well, come out next. This assistant principal looked into the dropout rates of Houston schools, and what he found made him be demoted to another school as assistant principal. Stay with us. It was called the Texas Miracle. And you may remember because of Houston schools. Rod Page was then superintendent of the Houston School District, where he wanted principals and administrators held accountable for how well the students did. If you remember the episode of King of the Hill, season 13, No Bobby Left Behind, it was all about the No Child Left Behind Act. That's what President Bush did when he was president. He wanted to make principals and administrators held accountable. That was why recess was being cut back so that students can be prepared for the test. It's the same thing as a No Child Left Behind. You're about to meet an assistant principal in this story who looked into the dropout rates. And during that time, those dropout rates plunged and test scores soared. Now it turns out it could be a phony after hearing about all the students. The students you're about to meet we had to repeat the grade in order for this to happen. But it all came to light when that assistant principal looked into this. Here's Dan Rather.
I was just shocked. I said, how can that be?
Robert Kimball was an assistant principal at Sharpstown High School on Houston's west side. His own school claimed that no students, not a single one, had dropped out in 2001-2002. That's not what Kimball saw.
I'd been at the high school for 3 years, and I had seen many students, several hundred a year, go out the door. And I knew that they were quitting. They told me they were quitting.
Most of the 1,700 students at Sharpstown High are underprivileged immigrants, prime candidates for dropping out. One of them was Janice Franco Gomez. She dropped out of Sharpstown in 2001 for all too familiar reasons. She had a baby.
My baby got sick, so I don't have nobody to take care of my baby, to take it to the doctor.
The high school reported that Janice left to get a GED, or equivalency diploma, which doesn't count officially as a dropout. Janice says she never told school officials anything of the sort. All in all, 463 kids left Sharpstown High School that year for a variety of reasons. The school reported 0 dropouts, but dozens of them did just that. School officials hid that fact by classifying or coding them as leaving for acceptable reasons. For example, transferring to another school or returning to their native country.
That's how you get to 0 dropouts, by assigning codes that says that, well, this student, went to another school, he did this or he did that, and basically all 463 students disappeared, and the school reported 0 dropouts for that year.
So officially, they were not dropouts, they disappeared.
Yes, they were not counted as dropouts, so the school had an outstanding record.
Sharpstown wasn't the only, quote, outstanding school. The Houston School District reported a citywide dropout rate of 1.5%. The educators and experts we checked with put Houston's true dropout rate somewhere between 25 and 50%.
I mean, chest swelled here when national headlines said Houston has the best, most improved school district in the country.
Yes, it did, but the teachers didn't believe it. They knew it was cooking the books. They told me that. Parents told me that.
And it wasn't just one school. It wasn't just Sharpstown.
Absolutely not. That's the superintendent of schools would make the public believe that it was one school, but it is in the system. It is in all of Houston.
Those low dropout rates in Houston and all of Texas were one of the accomplishments then Texas Governor George Bush cited when he campaigned to become the education president.
No one in my state of Texas now doubts that public schools can improve. We are witnessing the promise of high standards and accountability.
At that time, Rod Page was running Houston schools. He had instituted a policy of holding principals accountable for how their students did. Principals worked under one-year contracts. Each year, the school district set strict goals in areas like dropout rates and test scores. Principals who met the goals got cash bonuses of up to $5,000 and other perks. Those who fell short were transferred, demoted, or forced out.
The low dropout rate in the Houston School District has won it praise and even awards. The 11 news defenders have discovered those numbers may be a lesson in lies.
And a lot more.
Robert Kimball took his findings about Sharpstown High School to CBS affiliate KHOU-TV, which first reported the dropout scandal. Then he went to State Representative Rick Noriega. In Noriega's largely Hispanic, mostly poor district, many kids start high school but never finish.
In my district in particular, where I have in many of my high schools 1,000 ninth grade students, yet only approximately 300 or so will walk the stage 4 years later and receive a diploma. A big question should go off in people's heads. Where are the other students?
Well, where are the other kids? What has happened to them?
We don't know.
So Noriega asked the state to find out. Investigators checked half of the city's regular high schools. They reviewed the records of nearly 5,500 students who left those schools and checked how the schools coded or explained it. They found that almost 3,000 students should have been, but weren't, coded as dropouts. The audit substantiated Kimball's allegations.
The problem is the lack of integrity that's being demonstrated when you say that there's such a low dropout rate, when we all know, everyone knows, that 30 to 40% of the kids are dropping out of schools.
We wanted to ask Houston school officials about Kimball's accusations, but they wouldn't talk to us on camera. They said they wouldn't, quote, get a fair shake. But they did meet with us off camera. They argued that the audit proved outright fraud only at Sharpstown. At the other schools, they contended, the false statistics were due to, quote, confusion about the complex state system for coding students and sloppy bookkeeping. They conceded, however, that Houston's official 1.5% dropout rate was not accurate. Those officials also urged us to get a better picture of the Houston school system on camera from Rob Mosbacher, a Houston businessman, school supporter, and Republican activist.
You're proud of the Houston Independent School District. Tell me why.
And I think the district looks at the challenges it has and sets high expectations. And that's something that makes all of us very proud, because they've been making the progress that shows that those expectations can be realized.
Repeatedly, we tried to talk to former Houston Superintendent Rod Page himself, but he also declined. His spokesman said the dropout controversy broke after Page left Houston to become Education Secretary in Washington, and he said the phony statistics at Sharpstown were the work of a few individuals. Page's spokesman suggested we talk to Jay Green, a leading expert on dropouts at the Manhattan Institute. Green supports the kind of accountability reforms Page enacted in Houston, but listen to what he said when we asked him what he thought about Houston's official dropout rate.
I find that very hard to believe. It is almost certainly not true.
Will you consider it plausible?
I think it's simply implausible. I think a reasonable guess is that almost half of Houston's students do not graduate from high school.
Green points out that Houston's dropout problem is no worse than school systems in many other large American cities.
Overall, in the main, do you judge that the Houston school system is doing a good job? Things are moving forward?
I think they are doing about as well as most urban school districts, which is to say not very well.
But the argument has been that they've been doing super well.
Right, I don't think they've been doing super well.
Houston schools also won national acclaim for raising average scores on a statewide achievement test given to 10th graders. Principals were judged on how well their students did on that test. So in Houston schools, Kimball says, principals taught addition by subtraction. They raised the average test scores by keeping low-performing kids from taking the test. In some cases, that meant the kids never got to the 10th grade at all.
It's real easy to do.
It is.
What Sharpstown High School did and many other schools did, they said, okay, you cannot go to the 10th grade unless you pass all these courses.
In the 9th grade?
In the 9th grade.
What's wrong with that? Some people might say, well, that's pretty healthy. Hold them back in the 9th grade until they've got those basics down and then move them along.
Because you didn't fail, you failed algebra, you may be in the 9th grade 3 years until you pass that course. But that's not a social promotion if you just allowed the student to go to the 10th grade. Just, let him take algebra again and work on it there.
That's just what happened to Perla Arredondo. She passed all her courses in 9th grade, but was then told she had to repeat the same grade and the same courses.
Why did you spend 3 years in the 9th grade?
Because I went to my counselor's office and I told her, I said, you're giving me the wrong classes because I already passed them. So she said, don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. That's my job.
Perla spent 3 years in the 9th grade. She did fail algebra, but passed it in summer school. Finally, she was promoted right past 10th grade and that important test and into the 11th. Without enough credits to graduate, Perla dropped out, but she was smart enough to work as a cashier, a secretary, and a waitress, where she learned an important lesson.
So I know that I can get a good job without a high school diploma. I can get as a waitress, and I don't want to be doing that all my life.
Why? Do you have some reason for wanting a better job other than just to do better?
For my dad and my mom. I want them to be proud of me. That's another thing I want. I want them to be, proud of what I am.
Gilbert Moreno has seen many Perla Arredondos. He runs a school filled with dropouts.
What happened to those students who got held back in the 9th grade?
There are some horrible stories.
Moreno is director of the Association for the Advancement of Mexican Americans, which operates this private, non-profit charter high school for disadvantaged kids.
A youngster passed, say, 5 different subjects, passed the English, but wasn't given algebra. And then was later told at the end of the year, well, you're not going to pass to the 10th grade. You never passed algebra. You never took algebra. And the youngster goes, I never knew this. And it looks almost that there was an attempt to maybe identify some certain students and not give them the required curriculum.
There is no state audit to back up this claim, but Moreno points out that many Houston public high schools have bulging 9th grades and very small 10th grades. One school, he says, held back more than 60% of its 9th graders. School officials say students are held back because they're not ready for the next grade. They deny that they're held back to avoid the 10th grade test.
We're just going to continue where we left off.
Students and teachers at Moreno's charter school showed us that dropouts are not a lost cause. Former dropouts get help here to stay in school. Classes are small. There's daycare for students with children and programs to combat drugs and gangs. We heard determination, ambition, and hope in their voices.
Rocio, what do you dream of doing?
Cartoonists, animations, stuff like that. I'm really good at drawing.
Right now, I want to go to med school and continue to become a pediatrician.
What do you dream of being?
A journalist.
Oh, you and I better have a talk.
Representative Noriega says Houston public school officials focus on statistics instead of real problems.
That's the issue. It's the kids, stupid. And people continue to want to spin around it all and lose sight of it all. And it's Kimball, and it's just one school, and it's this, and it's that. And it's not.
Robert Sage. If that sounds like a political statement, it's because questions about the Houston public school miracle are now being raised in Washington.
Secretary Rod Page.
And Secretary Page, who declined to give us an interview, responded to the issue in a speech in Houston just before Christmas.
Critics come after the school district in Houston. It's Houston that they want to put on the front page. They come after you not because of an interest in quality education, because it is where you live.
In the case of whistleblower Kimball, school officials have denounced him as incompetent and transferred him to a primary school for kindergarten through second grade, where he is the second assistant principal.
The district felt that by sending me down there as somebody who's taught at university level, taught at high school level, and middle school level would be humiliated at a low primary school, but I'm telling you that I love it.
So you're not going to quit?
Absolutely not.
And this face wouldn't lie. He never quits. Batman says I never give up. This man won't quit either. Common sense needs to start telling you, don't blow the whistle. I mean, if you gotta blow the whistle. But if it's gonna cost you your job, it's gonna cost you your job. In the case of this, the Houston School District, yes. I mean, he probably did the right thing here. If Rod Page had got an interview for the story, he would have told us, he would have said his side of the story. Like, oh, this, and this. But he declined, and I don't know about Robert, I don't know about him, but if he wants to come on the show and tell us how he's doing, maybe. That's on the future reference. All right. Coming up next, this student was involved in a food fight that escalated into being disrespectful to the principal by calling him dude. Stay with us. When I do back to school month in our schools, I typically focus in on disruptions in the classroom, in the school, sleeping in class, and basically health concerns. One of the health concerns is think about this. You're going to the bathroom and all of a sudden you see someone throwing a stink bomb. And then all of a sudden, and then you're like, ooh, stinks on her. Oh, stinks on her. Oh, dog that. When it's really a health concern to breathe in those fumes. Or how about you're in class and someone sprays liquid ass? A few seconds later, ooh, it stinks in here. Did you just shit your pants, man? Then we'll hand it back with the class. We'll show you some videos about this in just a minute. But it really takes the case here. Take a look.
Been having a rash of stink bombs set off in the school. Setting off stink bombs is a major offense. It's a health concern to breathe in those fumes. So when a student does that, it's out of school suspension. Hey, Mr. Pace, I'm glad you're here. Lucas, we got a serious issue here. There have been 4 incidents involving stink bombs. Your name has come up again.
Again? They said that I threw some stink bomb somewhere. I don't know what's up. That's just stupid.
Staff members have come to him to
Tell me
students.
no, we don't divulge, we don't give out names. I just want to know who's that. No, he knows how to play the game. He is used to things like this. We've questioned him many times, and believe me, he was not intimidated. Do you have any stink bombs on you now? No.
Well, let's see. Empty your pockets.
Take everything out, because I'm going to look in there.
Because there's craziness going on in that bathroom. I don't know if they're setting up something, getting ready to pop one of those things. I don't know. This is so serious that people are getting sick. I was coughing one day when that thing went off out there. You need to try to clear your name, because I'm finding it very hard to believe, Lucas, that you are telling the truth.
I don't know what you're accusing me. I really don't know. I'm being framed because I didn't do it. That's it.
We're talking nice here.
I don't even know where to buy a stink bomb.
If you're involved in this, you're going to be suspended for 10 days out. and your folks are going to be called to the school to come get you. This conversation is over, but we're getting to the bottom of this. All right, so remember what I told you. If you know anything, hear anything, I need to know. All right? So you can go on back to class. Lucas may have walked away today without getting in any trouble, but if Lucas is involved, he is not going to get away with it.
I probably will agree with that. Now, when you look up, if you look up liquid ass prank in class, and school had to be evacuated. There we go. Liquid ass prank school. Lots of videos would pop up about this. Take a look at this. Try to cut to the prank here.
If you're new to my channel, please hit subscribe button right
Oh God, please, no! No! No!
That's something like that. They probably got moved, and this one they probably got moved to another class. So if you watch this, it's the key point here. You shouldn't be doing this. That's common sense enough to say. So the bottom line is this: don't ever freaking spray liquid ass. That's the bottom line. Otherwise, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Coming up next, it's the soda scam. It's where one student went to the teacher's lounge without permission and grabbed some sodas out of the machine. Stay with us. In the great state of New Jersey, this happened in 2005. There's a 2005 law which prohibits vending machines in school hallways. According to the chiefmarketer.com, New Jersey banned sale of soda and junk food in schools. New Jersey yesterday became the latest state to move forward to address the epidemic of child obesity by banning the state of sale of soda and junk foods in schools at the start of the 2007 school year. Active Governor Richard J. Goody said the state school districts will be required to adopt a comprehensive statewide policy banning sugary products. The policy instituted through administrative law would cover food items sold in vending machines, cafeteria and la carte lines, snack bars, school stores, fundraisers, and repurchasable after-school snack programs. By September 1st, 2006, school districts will have to adopt a school nutrition policy, and by September 1st, 2007, policies will have to match the model school nutrition policy as written as the amended nutrition rule. Agriculture Secretary Charles M. Krupa said the media event the guidelines were most comprehensive school nutrition policy in the nation. Under the soda policy, items listing as sugar, first degree is candy, as well as other items deemed of minimal nutritional value may not be sold or given out free as promotion. Schools will also have to be required to reduce purchases of products containing trans fats. All snack beverages are required to contain no more than 8 grams of fat per serving, and no more than 2 grams of saturated fat per serving. The state has also taken a stiff approach to supersizing the requirement that all beverages not exceed 12 ounces except water or milk, which can even exceed 8 ounces. Each school curriculum must also include nutrition education. New Jersey is among 20 other states that have instituted similar legislation to regulate the state of soda and junk food in schools, according to national comments of state legislators. The bill was signed by Governor M. Jody Rell, who was expressing reservations about the measure and planned to read it closely and make that decision. So clearly, that article right there is the example of the state is the example of this next video which you're about to see. This student decided to go to the teacher's lounge and grab 3 sodas out of the machine. She said she was getting it for her English teacher. But really, was she getting it for her English teacher, or was she getting it for herself? Take a look at this to be the judge.
In New Jersey, no school is allowed to have soda machines in their hallway because it's not nutritious. I have to call on the student in my office who went into the teacher's lounge without permission and took 3 sodas out of the machine.
You wanted to see me? What did I do?
Here, you can read it.
Oh, this. Joe was using the soda machine in the teacher's cafeteria. When questioned by several teachers, including me, she told us that she was getting a drink for her English teacher. She proceeded to buy like 3 sodas. I guess her teacher was thirsty. My teacher gets really thirsty sometimes. Like, you know when people get that stuff on the corner of the mouth, like they're like dehydrated and like white lips? And she asked for a soda, so I was just trying to be a nice person and go and get her the soda.
Alright. And when did this happen? What period was this?
During period 3.
Period 3?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? It's a lunch period, so we're going to have 20 or 30 teachers walking in there. This is like having a gambling operation across the street from the police department.
I was getting it for my English teacher.
Do you really think I believe that your English teacher, who is a veteran teacher, one of our best teachers, would send you to buy 3 sodas?
I didn't know which one to get her. She didn't specify, so I got her options.
I don't believe this at all. So, guess who I have to talk to next?
My English teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you don't have to do that.
Sorry. Tell me the truth right now.
I was in the mood for a soda. I wasn't settling for a Yoo-Hoo or a Snapple.
So water won't do, huh?
I was in the mood for soda.
So, I don't have to ask the English teacher what the heck she's doing.
No, you don't have to.
I see. There's a reason why you guys can't have soda, okay? In the state of New Jersey, you can't have nutritional stuff in machines. It's a legal matter. There's a reason why the soda is in a locked faculty room.
It was open. I don't think it's fair that teachers get caffeine all day, and we don't. That's why we're falling asleep in class. I just want soda.
Oh. It's a state law. To end this, you've extended Saturday detention.
So, it's over soda, Mr. Tate.
Well, I hope the soda was good. Okay, back to class.
I'm not happy with my punishment at all. It's just soda. That's all it is. It's dumb soda. When I get home, I'm going to write a letter to my congressman because this is stupid. The whole thing is stupid. It's soda.
In the future, Jill should stay out of the faculty lounge and get something out of one of the student machines that is healthy for her.
Now, there's a reason why that law is put in place. Is basically because to cut down on childhood obesity. That's the whole key here. That's basically the whole key. That's the whole key here. I mean, student machines have healthy options. They got Yoo-Hoo, Snapple, water. Those are healthy options. According to this article, those are those were the requirements of the law. I mean, if you look up that state law, they'll tell you. Okay. Now imagine this case scenario. You forgot your homework, and you say, I can't drive, I live so far away. Hey, Cody, can you give me a ride back home? I forgot my paper. I forgot my homework. Yeah, sure. boom, boom, boom. It's like, you want to stop so it gets a boom all the way? Cover my, okay. Boom, boom, boom. 2 large coffees, please. And then boom, boom, boom. And you probably get the homework anyway, but you couldn't because you go back to class. Go boom, boom, boom. Little did they realize that the camera's up there. And then, just take a look at these. Just take a look at this.
We have cameras throughout this building. A good number of our students are not conscious of the fact that we have cameras throughout this building and that we're constantly watching them for safety purposes. I've been called down to the security office to look at the videotape.
We had 2 students leave the building. 2 girls going out to the car.
Let's go to the other cameras as they walk in the building.
That's the girls coming in now. Yeah.
Looks like David and Nick. It looks like they have coffee. Thanks a lot, John. What I have to do now is I have to sit down with both Dana and Kate and tell them the reasons why it was ridiculous to leave the building.
You want to see us?
Come on in, please. Yeah, ladies, please sit down. Where were we at the beginning of period 2 today?
Class, REM.
I was down in the security office looking at the camera, and I see 2 young ladies leave the building, walk across the street to a white SUV, get in it, and drive away from this area. 15 minutes later, I saw 2 young ladies walk into the building with coffee and Dunkin' Donut bags, wearing those shirts. What 2 people are we talking about, guys?
Everyone's wearing these shirts today.
Everyone's wearing shirts.
Yeah.
Ladies, are we going to play games? Are we going to be honest? Where do we go?
Alright, here's the thing. I'm not such a good grade in English, and we had homework due today that I did, and I left it at home. I left all my books home, which is why I don't have any right now. And I don't drive, so Dana took me, and we just stopped at Dunkin' Donuts on the way.
I see. Kate just decided on her own to leave. It had nothing to do with schoolwork. She took a shot. I would believe the story, and I don't believe it. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So we went to Dunkin' Donuts.
I guess.
You're both juniors. You leave the building twice during your junior year, just twice. You give up the right to drive as a senior.
Are you serious?
Excuse me, you made a choice today. If you leave the building again, you will not have the opportunity to drive to school any day as a senior.
There's no way I'm gonna get my driving privileges taken away next year because of this stupid stuff. It's ridiculous. Ms. Ching, this is honestly ridiculous. So, no offense, but, I was just trying to help her get homework, and we had times when we went to get coffee.
The bottom line is this: you can drive off this property, get in an accident, your parents want to know where you are, and I or no one else in this building can explain it. This is serious stuff. You're both intelligent. You made a big mistake. Now, I will be calling your parents, and you both have in-school suspension. Don't do this again. Have a nice day.
I'm nervous because I know my parents are going to get mad at me. It's probably going to ground me, and it sucks.
Hopefully, because high school's like a soap opera, every other kid knows they left, they got caught, they were disciplined. Hopefully we never have to deal with this again.
It's called closed campus for a reason. That's a reason why it's called closed campus. Now, a couple days ago, we focused in on cigarettes in our schools. We're looking at an example. Here's another example. This person here was caught outside of school. But what was she doing? Was she smoking? Was she just walking around the hallways, talking to her friends? Or probably doing all the above? Find out the answer when we return. Stay with us. Now you may remember, we talked about smoking in our schools, how cigarettes are prohibited in every single school. Connecticut has a state law which prohibits people smoking. In the state of Connecticut, it's a $50 fine for having a cigarette. Texas has a law which says you are prohibited from drinking alcohol on school grounds. That's a violation of state law. You're about to meet somebody who broke that law in the state of Connecticut. which says a student is prohibited from smoking on school grounds. Take a look.
Principal Costello has absolutely no tolerance for smoking. If you're caught smoking on school property, you're automatically in trouble.
Sometimes kids think that lunch is free time, but it's not. I need to know where they are at all times. So, we found you outside, right? What were you doing?
I was just chilling.
Taking a little break from school?
I didn't see what the big deal was.
So where'd you wind up?
Where was I? In the field? Well, no, before I leave to the park, and I went outside and I was ready to walk through the parking lot doors. Like, I don't know exactly where it is. I know it's like right next,
She thinks she went out that door. I think it was by the field, but maybe it was by the cafeteria. If you can't remember which door you walked out of 20 minutes ago, then I think there's something going on. You want to try to get your story straight here, Lindsay?
I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what part. All I know is I was near a field. That's it, which is like over there. So.
I'm thinking there must be a little bit more to this because kids, I don't think, just randomly go outside to chill. You need a break from the academic stress. Well, what kind of break are you taking?
I'm just taking a cigarette break.
Oh, really? This is a tobacco-free zone. And now you're in possession of cigarettes, and I'm assuming a lighter. Give me cigarettes. You can't bring them onto this campus. It's a state law. I want you to put those cigarettes on my desk right now.
Do you have $5? If you have $5, I'll give you the cigarettes right now.
I'm not going to buy it from you, Lindsay. Put the cigarettes on my desk right now.
Thank you. I'm only doing it because I'm going to get in trouble. I'll just get another pack when I get home.
Well, you are in trouble, Lindsay. Well, I think an extended day detention is an appropriate consequence for you. You can go to the office, they'll give you the pass for the detention. Part of me wanted to give her 2 detentions, but I think 1 detention will be appropriate for her.
And damn right it's appropriate. State law prohibits you from having tobacco, any tobacco products. But at my school, you got caught with tobacco, you were sent to SDGC. Now, if you're familiar with the show, you may remember when I talked about SDGC. It means Student Discipline Guidance Center. Now, I want to soak to the drugs in our schools. This student decides to be a hero, but end up caught by the police. Take a look.
High school, I have to deal with drugs maybe once or twice a week.
Go ahead. We've got a bunch of kids outside smoking pot.
Thank you. Apparently, a teacher saw some students outside of school smoking marijuana.
We're going to bring them in right now.
When I arrived, I saw the teacher and another young man, and the young man was holding the marijuana pipe.
Right now, I'm scared out of my mind. I'm freaking. I want to get out of here. I don't want him to call my parents at all. I don't want anything to happen. I'm freaking.
Nico, what happened? This looks really bad.
These 3 girls walked up and then they were just standing there. All of a sudden, they tapped me on the shoulder and they tossed me that, all quick, they tossed it at me, and then they just start walking really, really fast, and they just all leave. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I got caught with a pipe that wasn't mine.
Did you know they were smoking pot?
Saw a glimpse of it, but I didn't know what they were. I saw a glimpse of it, I didn't know.
Mr. Haddon said pretty much the same thing. They saw some girls smoking.
Okay.
And when he drove up, they threw it, and he went like this and grabbed it, and he stayed.
Okay.
Everybody else ran and left him holding the bag, and he's like, what's going on?
Why would you catch it if they tossed it? I don't know, I just It was really quick. Like, I just turned around and they had it in my hands, and I'm not guilty because, 1, it wasn't my pipe. 2, it wasn't my marijuana. 3, they just tossed everything in my hands and ran.
Right now, if it was not for Mr. Haddon, you'd be guilty, okay? I appreciate you being honest and staying while everybody else took off, but in the future, if you even suspect things, you need to walk away.
All right. I told the truth. I told my part of the story. He said, thank you for your honesty, and basically let me go. Okay, thank you.
The next time Nicholas gets a marijuana pipe tossed to him, he needs to just let it go.
He wouldn't let it go. I mean, freaking let it go. I mean, he was a hero for doing that. He told us part of the story. But it's a great idea to just let it go. Because you may be at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's basically the whole key here. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We deal with tobacco products in our schools, smoking. But dipping, it's a kind of thing where you would it's like chewing tobacco, you would spit it out. But let me tell you this. This was in my English class. One of my friends was caught with chewing tobacco, and they couldn't search him, but I'm not gonna get this. Just watch this clip.
I make it a point to be out in the parking lot quite often, and I may talk to a bus driver about issues, or if any of our kids are causing him any trouble. Mr. Cobb, any kids been giving you trouble on the bus?
Shorty and his brothers, he spit out the window at cars as they went by. Him and his brother were throwing an object back and forth.
We're going to handle that. After I talked with Mr. Cobb, I went ahead and called Shorty into the office. Shorty, Mr. Cobb, the bus driver, sent me this bus conduct report, and on this he has written up that you were throwing something back and forth, and you were spitting out the window. Go ahead and explain to me why you were spitting out the window.
My sinus has been draining. You know, when your sinus drains, you got a nasty taste in your mouth.
Right.
I didn't feel like swallowing it, so I spit it out the window.
Winder. Just spell that for me.
W-I-N-D-E-R.
Now, is that how you spell window?
No, sir.
Well, I wasn't for sure if we had winders or windows in the school bus. Which ones are they?
We have windows in the school bus.
Okay, good. I'll just check it. Throwing something back and forth, and when asked what it was, I don't know. You mean you were engaged in actually throwing something that you didn't know what it was?
My brother threw it over the seat, and without looking, I just threw it back at him.
You know, I've thrown back and forth a lot of stuff, and I don't ever remember throwing something that I didn't know what it was. What do you think it was?
It was probably one of those empty dip cans.
Ah! Now then we get to why we didn't want to know what it was. Empty dip can. School policy here at Boonville is that a student may not possess any tobacco products or paraphernalia at any time. Could that have been why you were spitting out the window?
No, sir.
Shorty, you better not be dipping on my school buses.
No, sir.
You've admitted to spitting out the window, and that possibly that was a dip can that you were tossing around on the school bus. Can you see where that might be tied together, where I might suspicion a little foul play there?
I admit I have dipped on the bus once, but I had a spit bottle.
Are you aware of the rules on buses?
No, sir. I admit I didn't read the handbook.
Did you come to orientation?
I came here, I went up there to the field house, and I fell asleep.
Now, opening up this book and turning back here to where it says bus privileges. First offense, 3 days. Second offense, 5 days off the bus. The third offense, you lose your bus privileges. For the next 3 days, you'll be off the bus, and I hope that your conduct improves, okay?
Yes, sir.
Because I like you, Shorty, but that's not going to keep me from following the handbook, okay?
Yes, sir. Since I can't ride the bus, I'm gonna have my mom drive me to school and back. Of course, she works down there at Big World Pharmacy, down there in front of Walmart.
Shorty, go back to class and learn something today.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
All right.
3 days off the bus, my mom might really be pissed, but I don't care. The bus driver's a butthead.
Bus driver, butthead. That's not very nice. Not very nice at all. It's not very nice to call somebody names. It ain't very nice at all. There's one more. We're gonna wrap it up. There was another one about the tobacco, and this student decides to get a fake ID and decides to go get some beer. I think I might have gone past it. I'll sure as heck will find it. There we go. Multiple identities. I mean, fake IDs is the issue ever. I mean, think about it. You want to get a good video, like you want to get a rented M game. You want to get some alcohol, but you want to create a fake ID. That's how people make it. They just like, it's like a piece of construction paper they use.
Julio, sit in your back pocket. School policy here at Boonville is that a student may not possess any tobacco products on campus at any time.
How old are you?
17.
Now, Julio, you know it's illegal for you even to have any kind of tobacco, right?
Yes, sir.
Where did you get this tobacco?
And I said, this station.
And someone just sold it to you right over the counter?
Yes, sir.
I just don't believe that you could have bought this without a fake ID. Do you have a fake ID?
Yes, sir.
Give me that ID. Julio, who would believe that you were Ira Goldberg?
If it said Ira Goldberg Gonzalez, maybe, but it didn't.
The punishment for first offense tobacco on campus is 1/2 day Saturday detention. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go back to class. Learn something today.
Hey, that do not go well. He got my fake ID. I really like that fake ID.
I really like my fake ID. But you even got caught with some common sense. Never create a fake ID. Never smoke in school. That's the whole key here. Tobacco on campus is illegal in the state of Connecticut. But there's also a law saying that the state of Connecticut would mandate that all 10th graders have to have a physical. Take a look.
The state of Connecticut mandates that all 10th graders have to have a physical. And so I'm meeting with a student, Frankie, who has not submitted his physical. Hi, Frankie.
Hello.
is because your name is on a list of students who have not turned in their physicals.
I had my physical. I just didn't never turn it in.
Well, where is it?
At home.
Well, why? Okay, it's the blood work. So this is what is needed for you. The only thing they need is.
No, because when I went there, you no needle.
So what do you mean, no needles?
I don't like needles. I don't do needles. Something about needles. It's just, I'm perfectly healthy. I can function perfectly fine, normal, same way.
It's just a little ting on the finger.
That little prick goes a long way.
Well, look, we need it. We need blood. I don't know of any other way that the doctors take blood. I think they need like a whole vial of it. They will stick the needle just right in here.
Nah. Ooh, I can't let them touch me like a needle in my arm. I have a fear with needles because what if the doctor uses a dirty needle or the doctor pokes the wrong spot?
This paper has to be in.
But miss, look at me, like, can you see? Look how perfect, I'm in perfect health, top shape.
Frankie seems to think that he can gauge his health by the way he looks. That's not how it works. That's it. We need the paper. You understand?
Yeah.
It's so important. Otherwise, I have to call your parents and I'll let them know just how scared you are. Is that what you want me to do? What?
No, there's no need.
All right, I need to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I want to hear it right now.
I will bring you my physical with the blood work, which means I will allow them to give me a needle in this perfect body. Okay?
All right, Frank. Take care.
That's one of two state laws. The state of New Jersey has the soda law. The state of Connecticut has the cigarette law. And the state of Connecticut also has the physical law. 10th graders have to be required to take a physical. It's the paperwork. That's the whole key here. And that's Give Me a Break for now. Join all of us at YouTube next time for another edition to Give Me a Break. Have a good night.